As a person who makes videos, I find it important to keep myself connected to various different properties. Every new game, movie, article, or song I find, I like to keep them stored into the back of my mind for future use. And as an editor, I find it important to keep tabs on good resources for video material. So when I find a new track from some obscure indie gem, I always throw them into the back of my music catalog so I can use them for future videos. Like, have you guys heard the Hylix soundtrack? Or even Citizen Sleeper. It's always great to find some small little pocket of backlog media for me to use. And one game series music that I've kept hidden to myself is this small little series of games by Cosmo D. Cosmo D is a single dev game maker who's made 4 small indie titles: Off Peak, The Norwood Suite, Tales from Off-Peak City Volume 1, and his latest release, Betrayal at Club Low. Up until a little while ago, all I heard from these games was their absolutely insanely good soundtracks. Like, you hearing this right now? From my understanding, the music is made by Cosmo D himself. He makes and scores his own games, and the soundtracks and game design are almost inseparable from each other. But even though I've massively enjoyed these game soundtracks, I've never actually played one of them before. So I've decided that for this video, I was going to jump into the Cosmo D videogame-ograhy. Is that a term?
I don't know.
They are intensely entertaining, funny, interesting, and brimming with charm, personality, and soul. But seeing how small the communities around these games are, I'm guessing that most people haven't heard of them, so I will not be spoiling any of their great story beats or fun moments, but I still recommend that you play them before I speak about them, because their mood and tone that these games provide is the best part about them, and I will be spoiling that aspect of them. I understand that these games may not be for everyone, but if you have the slightest interest in them, I recommend you play them. Okay, no more on-ramping, dang it. It's time for me to jump in. It's time for me to crack open that can of Blue Moose and let's just talk about The biggest barrier to entry, but one of the best parts about Off-Peak, is its visuals. I'm not gonna lie, they can be off-putting. As most seasoned gamers can tell, this game is setting off all kinds of alarms with its visual style. Looking at it might remind you of early Unity engine games like Slenderman, The 8 Pages, or countless games that you watched Markiplier play back in 2014, but I assure you that all of these games use and utilize its style to an excellent degree. Every Cosmo D game uses this style of low-resolution textures and awkward animations. Its environments clash and conflict within itself to such an aggressive level that it forces you to accept that nothing will match and you shouldn't expect it to. In Off-Peak, it takes place inside of a very large train station that is a mecca of commerce and the curious patrons that pass through. Its environments are large and empty with sharp, hard edges everywhere. It's just a cold and very sterile area that has almost haphazardly slapped on textures and just random assets placed around without much rhyme or reason. Why is there a mushroom here? What? But as you learn, this train station is ran by an almost tyrannical and overbearing manager, as the game calls it. Its design makes much more sense. The manager's only concern is the satisfaction of his customer base, but people don't like cold, dry stations with no soul or passion, so its art and strange, bizarre residents are almost allowed to let their creativity flourish in this space, giving this very dry area a sense of life and passion. It already brings together very strong themes of the connection between creative passions and commercial interests. Despite its very large, sterile rooms, you have people that make food, play board games, and still express themselves. While it ultimately feels like everyone is coerced into participating, the passions and art of the people who are here are still significant and meaningful. As Off-Peak goes into Norwood Suite, the visuals only become more stylized and more sure-handed. Its confidence in its delivery and presentation makes Norwood Suite feel like such a huge jump in quality from the first game, Off-Peak. While Off-Peak is the only free game of Cosmo D's, its quality unfortunately reflects that. While it's still interesting and it made me laugh quite a few times, it's the most basic game in the bunch. But it's also still very fascinating with its presentation, and it has the best and most iconic character in the whole video game monopoly. Oh my god. Whoa! Look at that guy! Whoa! Look at him go. He's just going hard. He doesn't even have dialogue. He has no purpose. He has no reason to be here. The only reason he has is to dance. I realize that many may not play these games, but after witnessing this, you may be currently rushing out to pick up your copy now, and I don't blame you. And while you would be correct to say that this man is the best aspect of the series, which I can't deny, going into the next project, the Norwood Suite, another equally important aspect of these games is the The soundtrack was originally what attracted me to the series, and the Norwood Suite is defined and revolves around its music. The jump from Off-Peak to Norwood Suite is immediately noticeable from its audio design and presentation. The score has become almost entirely diegetic now, playing from speakers that are planted throughout the hotel. The dialogue now has a Banjo-Kazooie-esque speech sounds, but instead of indistinct blurps and murmur sound effects, they are now scattered and unplugged musical instruments. The more sure-handed and intentional placement of its score is much more significant to its story. The Norwood Hotel that the game takes place in is interconnected with the history of musicians and producers who used the residence as a recording studio before the mysterious disappearance of its owner. Now it's been converted into a hotel and partial museum exhibit for the history of its many famous artists who came there. The building has very deep ties with the music that plays throughout the house, and every single room feels like it was designed to accompany the score with it. So the focus of having its dialogue and locations connected to the music makes the whole game feel like its score and world are weaving and interconnected within themselves. Every room in the hotel is a bizarre little window into another world, and the score reflects that. The pool room sounds relaxed and enchanting with plucked acoustic guitars and its delicate pianos, but it also isn't afraid to pop off. The DJ City Room, with a small indoor city and its less spectacular dancing man, goes off hard with its rhythmic pulses. Or the actual Norwood Suite in the hotel, with its almost sinister synths and unnerving skeleton in the center of the room. Every track feels appropriate to each room and makes the game simultaneously unnerving and hilarious. Many times throughout the game, I laughed out loud from the strange dialogue or just some unexpected visual that you just find at any given point. A particularly funny moment that just baffled me and made me laugh was when I was in the kitchen using the cutting vegetables machine, and Jen just, whoa! Doghead! It's a doghead. Why? 'Cause doghead. It's a doghead. All of the games are just filled with that kind of humor. Just when you think the game has run out of ways to surprise you, it finds something else to just confuse you with. Why are there tiny cow statues on the shelf? They're not statues, they're real cows. And surprises is something that Tales from Off-Peak City Volume 1 hits you with once you see how far the games have... Something interesting about playing all of Cosmo D's games back to back is seeing how each one evolves and advances from one to the other. Off-Peak is a kind of simple walking collect-a-thon. The Norwood Suite adds an inventory system and becomes a narrative detective game, and Tales from Off-Peak City jumps further forward with currency systems and adds another feature that I just recently talked about in the last video. That's right, it gives you a camera, baby! And it blows my mind how well it works in this game. It's not just the camera you have now, but you can adjust the focus, the zooming, the shutter speed, and you can now unlock camera films with different filters through exploration, which is a really cool unlock that I haven't seen any other games do. You can also save photos from the game that you took directly onto your computer, and in a nearby pizza joint that you find in the game, you can replace the pictures hanging on the walls with actual photos that you took. That's so cool. How is it that this small single developer made game has more thought put into its camera tools than most modern AAA games? And another thing that someone might have to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I've never before seen in a game. When you take a photo, depending on the shutter speed, you can shake the mouse around after taking a picture to distort the photo, as if you were shaking like a real Polaroid photo, because like that, I've never seen that before in a game. That's incredible. I've never heard of anyone doing that before. Cosmo D is smoking something else when he made this game. Probably ate a crazy slice of that Cantano's pizza. God, that pizza messed them up. It's a good thing the game has a camera because you'll actually want to take pictures in this game. The environments have opened up and now you have an entire city block of bizarre street fronts, talking buildings, weird residents, and gorgeous skyboxes that you actually want to have. I actually want to take a picture of that. Like, I for real want a picture of that. The art direction of the series continues to evolve and has become more expressive and charming. Each city block has personality and life in them. The theme of art and passion, conflicting with commerce and corporate business interests, is still here in Tales from Off-Peak City. The city seems to be overrun with corrupt landlords and cruel police forces that have a chokehold on the people who live there. Each citizen is unique and all have individual voices and passions, but the police all share the same face and models. They're all just blank, copy-paste faces with no personality besides vapid self-interest. The cruelty and slow degradation of this unique, character-filled neighborhood is slowly being robbed of its soul by an almost militarized authority. It's kind of sad in a way. These games exist in a universe where art and creativity flourish and almost take on an entire life of their own, but they have to contend with selfish and corrupt forces. The train station in Off-Peak is a cold, sterile environment that is adapted to look more artistic and lively for corporate interests. The hotel in Norwood Suite is a recording studio for passionate artists that's turned into a business to appeal to companies and sponsorships to derive profit. And here in Tales from Off-Peak City, you can see the lively corner of Julie and Yam Street.
The word is July. I have no idea how I read it as Julie.
Targeted by authorities. It's a beautiful and sincere world being dragged into the sea by something else. It's endlessly fascinating and disarming seeing how charming and funny these games are. That's the kid. It's a tiny guy. It's just a tiny version of him. As you guys know, transitions aren't my strong suit, so I'm just gonna jump into it. But in Tales from Off-Peak City, you can make pizza. You play as a pizza delivery boy, and you can make and customize your own unique pizzas. Why is this game so awesome? It's got everything a gamer girl could ask for: a banging soundtrack, a camera, and freaking pizza. When you're coming home, I miss your love. And because this is a Cosmo D game and everything is cool AF, the score slowly changes and evolves as you add toppings to your pizza. Each individual ingredient you add adds another instrument to the song. Again, I ask you, why? Why does this game have to go that hard? It almost goes as hard as... This final segment and our final game is called Betrayal at Club Low, the most recent game made by Cosmo D and the most drastically different in the videogame-ograhy so far. The previous games were all first-person narrative exploration games, but Betrayal at Club Low becomes a third-person point-and-click dice-rolling RPG with branching story paths and tons of replayability. I know I've already said it, but I understand why some might be apprehensive about playing these games. They look weird, they sound weird, and admittedly perhaps are a bit overpriced for their short game length, so they may be a hard sell for some people, which I can understand. But if one thing could be taken away from this video is that everyone should play Betrayal at Club Low. I don't care if you don't like dice-rolling RPGs or point-and-click games. I don't give F. I don't like those games. I hate point-and-click games, and most RPGs make me sick to my stomach. I don't like those kind of games, and yet I love Betrayal at Club Low, and I think you would too. The most impressive part about this game isn't the fantastic score, which again is pretty universal amongst all Cosmo D games. It isn't its charming art style, its presentation, or its funny dialogue. The most impressive thing about Club Low is its interconnectivity. Every single thing in this game is connected to each other, and every choice matters and builds into the next moment. Every dice roll contributes to the next. The characters and quest design are connected, and every decision matters. You weigh each interaction, slowly level up and gain statuses and advantages in your favor to slowly increase your chances of winning the next roll of the dice. This system on the surface can look initially daunting and confusing, but once you learn how it works, it becomes a deeply satisfying and enjoyable RPG. Tackling tough challenges matters less on your stats and more about how you've prepared yourself with temporary statuses or permanent ones depending on how you've made your previous choices. This sounds all nebulous and probably confusing, so let me give you an example of how it works. Say you want to talk to this DJ, and when you speak to him, you see that his dice rolls and values are very high and super overleveled. You would never win in an outright confrontation with him. So instead, you go down to the dance floor and you talk to the other people. One masked person in the crowd after you beat them is revealed to be the DJ's mother. You can then use this information against the DJ and tell him that his mother is in the crowd, which will add a debuff dice, distracted by mother. You haven't gained any XP or skills, but you've gained information you've obtained by interacting with others in the club and has given you better odds and chances of beating this tough adversary. That's just the tip and a spear behind it of this iceberg. The level of interconnectivity is insane, and branching paths from this quest alone makes the game amazing. The RPG elements here are also super fun and interesting. In most RPGs, you have a pretty typical normal attributes: strength, intelligence, magic, maybe stamina or energy if you get lucky. In Betrayal at Club Low, you have physique, wisdom, wit, observation, deception, music, and cooking. What other games can you say that you've made a cooking/music build? And they aren't joke options either. They are totally viable and equally as valid as a normal playthrough. What other games can you play the whole game as a chef who lies to people or a witty musician? This game just does so much right that I could easily and wholeheartedly recommend Betrayal at Club Low. After watching this unnecessarily long AF video, you may be asking, cool, so what's the big diddly deal? To that I say, did you not listen to a single thing I said? Like, this whole video is about why these games are cool, and you dismiss all of it, you big stinky monkey pig? What I find so immensely interesting about these games is that I've never played anything like them before. Their style and presentation and their soundtrack and the pure sincerity of them just warms my heart. These small little titles just ooze charm and go far beyond their station. Train joke. I made a train joke. The games feel like they wanted to say something. They use their unusual graphics and presentation to make a point. It's a series that has bad graphics, quote unquote. Oh, dang it, Jacob. But I wouldn't want anything else from it. They express how art feels. It's alive, it's personal, and I would never want it to conform to any other game's standards. Good games are never just skin deep. It's connected with me in more ways than most games I've ever played have. At the end of this big boy video, I realized that there's still a lot to say, and I want to just keep talking about it. I want to endlessly talk about what everything means, what's going on in its plot, why are these tiny little cows on the shelf, and what the heck is up with the freaking dancing man? Thankfully, you can join Cosmo D's Discord server and join a community to discuss it further with others. He said hi to me on Discord, by the way. I have a picture of it, so I'm just letting y'all know. I bump elbows with high society, all right? Like, I could have you killed if I wanted to, okay? Like, that's how influential I am. This response legit made my day. Thank you, Cosmic Daddy. I hope the microphone didn't pick that up. I hope this video has given others more interest in this small developer. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'm doing a giveaway after this video is posted, and in the following days, I'll select someone from the comments. I will send you all of the Cosmo D games. You'll be getting Norwood Suite, Tales from Off-Peak City, and Betrayal at Club Low. You don't get Off-Peak because that one's already free, and you can get that one on your own time, but you will get the other three. So just leave a comment, and I'll pick someone in a few days, and whoever I get, I'm going to basically give you the whole series for free. So at least I can freaking force one of you guys in the comments to also enjoy the series. That's just what I'm gonna start doing. I'm just gonna start buying people off. I'll pick a guy in the crowd and go, you Enjoy this with me. Last minute addition here that I'm just adding on at the very end. Cosmo D has won 2 different awards for the Independent Games Festival for Betrayal at Club Low. And Betrayal at Club Low was the winner of the Seamus McNally, I don't know how you say that, grand prize at IGF 23. Betrayal at Club Low's sweeping the day, so it's not just me. The world hasn't lost its mind after all. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys sticking all the way to the end of this big, long video. And remember, leave a comment if you want to get all 3 of the games. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Seriously, why the frick is that guy dancing so hard?